Let folks get joined in. Sharing my screen. Oh, perfect. All right, I'm seeing some folks join in now. Wonderful. I will go ahead and do just a very brief introduction, and then we will go ahead and get started. So welcome, everyone. My name is Eric Walmerink, and welcome to our daily Lunch and Learn. This is a time where a decisions team member will spend a lunch hour from noon to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a call, answering any questions you may have, either about the product or about decisions, about the tool, really anything you care to ask for. We have a number of experts on different calls to help you out. So today you get me. I'm currently on the product management team, and a lot of things that I do are focused very heavily in on what the future of decisions looks like. So I'm a product manager. I really care about where decisions is going, the new features we're going to be adding, what the next release looks like, what a roadmap looks like. And so I have a lot of kind of bias and skew towards that. But that being said, I actually have been here for about a decade, actually over a decade now. Wow. And through that time, I've watched the company grow and done a number of different things. I actually started as a junior developer, moved into support and professional services, led our documentation team. I did all of our compliance and IT ops for a while. So yeah, done a little bit of things here. One of my employees commented that I'm old. Yes, I'm old, and I clearly just stick with one job, and that's about it. So with that comes a little bit of kind of a jack of all trades mentality and experience. So I'm more than happy to try to answer any questions you have. More than happy to show off a little bit of the next major release and talk about that, and really just answer to the best of my ability, or point you in the right direction and get the answers after this call. All right, that being said, the best way to do this is there are really three ways to ask questions. There's a question and answer panel. You can type your question out. There's also just a webinar chat you could post into, and I'll take a look there. Or lastly, if you'd prefer to kind of chat about it and use your microphone, you can raise your hand in the participants panel, and we'll let you come off mute, and we'll talk a little bit there. Which I already see one coming in, and I believe it's the same person who requested the initial or pre-submitted a question. So I'm going to go ahead and let you come off mute. There's the button. Cool. And yeah, let's dive in and talk about it. How are you today?
Hey Eric, are you able to hear me?
I can hear you well. Yep.
Hey, thank you so much. I didn't know we have this kind of support and decisions. I was really
Cool.
happy saying this. Yeah.
Good.
I'm sorry, I'm little not feeling well. So the questions I have is, Eric, so when we generate a report and group with different fields,
Mm-hmm.
let's think first we group by agent name and then by location. So let's think for agent name we have 10 records, and for each location we have 3, 2 like that. So is there a way to show that counts after that group by in the row?
Mm-hmm. Yep, let's start with that. There's a ability in any report to do what's called results totaling, I believe. We'll look at it in here. But I saw your question come in ahead of time. So I went ahead and created just a really simple structure of data that has a number, a date, and a string that's mimicking like a claim. And I threw, I think, 25 items into a database just so I can report on it. So in our report, this is what we're looking at. This is just sample
Mhm.
test data in the database. I have a claim number, a date, and just a person name. If you want to get subtotals on the groups, I've grouped by date. I could try to group by name, although I think these are all unique, and I think my totals will all be unique as well. You come over without selecting anything, so you can do that by selecting like some gray space. Come over to this results property on the report panel, and then there's
Okay.
the subtotals is where it is. Now, if I click add here, you can do it on any field. Like say I wanted to count how many people submitted on a date. I could just click whatever field I'm trying to do some math on. I can type a display name in, like number
Mm.
of submissions, what type of aggregation I'm doing. Since this is just a string or text field, I really can only count them. And then how I want the format of that to show. Like I want to show it as a
Number.
number or data. I'm just going to say I want a 0 decimal count. And that should be it. If I just do that and click run, my report will run, and I'll see that on the grouped item, Number of submissions is 2 on that date, 3 on that date, and total at the very bottom is 25. And if I change my grouping live,
Yeah.
I'll see it's only going to show me all the ones, but that calculation will be dynamic as I change those groupings around.
Okay, so it
So
would be dynamic once we do that.
Yep, totally. Yep. All you do is you set it up here in the properties, and you could do some other cool things. So you can actually have multiple. So say I wanted the count and I wanted to sum the total amount of claims for the day, so total claims on date, something like that. And I want to format that as currency using
Mm-hmm.
whatever user culture I have. I can have both of those side by side. And if I run it here, I guess I want to reload. Now I can see
Oh,
that there's 2 submissions and I had 99,000 claims on this date and a total of 1.2 million. Um, so you can get a little fancy with this, but you can do it both with kind of some basic math on numbers or just kind of counting the number of items on there and you'll get those in line.
thank you so much. And Eric, the next question was I have two reports on the left one and right one, okay? And on the left, I selected send as filter change. And
Mm-hmm.
on the right, I want to give a rule filter. So when I give a rule filter and come out, I don't get the option to select this uh, filter value which comes from the first one.
Yeah, this one was interesting. I haven't tested this theory, but I believe this should work. So we're gonna build an example together. How am I gonna build this really quick? I bet I could steal. Can I steal this page? No, I'm not gonna have access to edit this page. This is an example of a built-in parent-child report, right? Like I click an item of all users and it shows me, it filters out the one on the right-hand side, or it filters one on the right-hand side. So this is it. We'll just build one from scratch. This won't take too long. Let me jump back into my project here. So let's create 2 reports. We'll do the same thing here. So I'm thinking as I go. We'll create a groups report. I'm going to build this really fast. So if you want to interrupt me, please feel free to stop me if I'm going too fast. But we'll build a group. We're just going to grab the name of the group and sure, when it was created, make it really simple. And then we're going to create another report for our accounts. And we're going to say the account data source. This is going to be really simple. And I'm going to do email address and create an on date. Great. And let's go ahead and shove these both very quickly onto an ugly page. I'll even call it the ugly page. Cool. This works because I got 2 panels. I could remove this top bar if I wanted, but we'll drag our group report on the left, groups, and I will grab my accounts report on, oh, that's default folder, sorry. Grab my accounts report on the right. Cool. And let's just make sure this works before I go any further. So I'm going to create a new page. We're going to call this display dashboard. Cool. I'm going to right click, go to more. And by the way, I should have mentioned this at the very beginning. If my environment looks different than yours, it actually definitely looks a lot different than yours. Um, I'm on an experimental beta version of our next major release called version 9. It's version 9 coming out. So a lot of
Okay.
the things you're seeing here is brand new, but I'm happy to talk more about that. If you see something you like or are curious about, I can talk about that with a further question. Okay, back to the example. Cool. So these aren't set up to filter each other yet. I need to remove that left click action, but I have the 2 reports displayed. Awesome. Now let's come into here. Jared, I'm going to ask you because I can't remember off the top of my head. Where is the setting to remove that darn slide out behavior? I always forget. Is it under
Looks like,
action?
yeah, right there where it says show actions on left click. You can,
Yeah,
that would do it. Also, I think grid view.
grid
There's
view.
actually,
That's the one. I
yeah,
always forget what it is.
you could do specified
Yeah, we need to rename this setting
and
to be
then
perfectly
show
frank.
slider. You can say
I hate
no.
shift slider. Just no
Yeah, I
actions.
hate
All
it.
right, sorry. That
Mm.
was a lot of properties. That slider panel that comes out is actually getting removed by default for anyone who cares. So that will no longer be something you have to do. But okay, but back to your question. Let's go look at this report. I want to write a rule filter or even any filter that consumes that selection so that it can filter out values in this report. Is my understanding correct?
Correct, Eric.
Okay,
You're correct.
cool. So on any of our filters, rule filter or our field filters, looking at them, let's go write a simple rule filter because I actually haven't tested this one. Let's create a filter that says, I got to think of a good example now. Create new. I can't do it besides ID. My brain is stuck on ID. Maybe we only show. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna think about a better example. But before I do that, I'll show you how the feature works first while I think of a good example. But the way it works is if I go into a filter that I want to write, let's say where it does this group or does this folder, sorry, gosh, man, my words, does this account exist in a group in decisions? So I need to take in the group ID selected and see if that exists on this account object. So I can come to the account object and I can find, where's the group? Oh, is this the wrong data source? Maybe my example is a little bugged. Okay. There's a different data source I want to use here. Hold on. But somehow my data, account group data source, right? Somehow my data has to tie to each other, right? So I could still use the same, it's just a data source that combines these. But I need to know if, let's just grab it here, if group ID, perfect. If this group ID matches the one selected from a completely separate report. So normally this column would normally be hidden. I actually can hide it when we're done just to show you. But let's go ahead and write the filter, right? Does the group ID for this item equal what? Well, equals the selection from the other report. And that's where here on this runtime behavior, you're going to want to use this thing called get values from other report. And the value you want to put here is something that's going to match whatever the value you're sending from the other report. So we're going to have to go modify the other report. So I'm going to call this value GID for group ID, or actually I can just call it group ID. Okay. So I've told this secondary report, you are getting your filter value from runtime selected value or from some other report coming in. Now, I believe, like I said, this should work the same for rule filters. I can actually say get value from other report here, and it should give me the inputs as selectable or as configurable the same way if I had inputs. We'll test my theory in a second. But the way this works, I set up here, I have to go to this report and say, hey, when I make a choice on you, you're going to send this value to the page so that another report can consume it. And for that one, you just go find the field you want to send. Like, why is it called base group ID? That's not the field. I just need entity ID or group ID. Group ID. There we go. Let's get rid of this one. And so I want to tell this group ID column, you are going to send your data as a filter change to another one, and you have to name it the same, case sensitive.
Correct.
So do this, save, close, save, close, save, run, and oh, here it is. So now this should work. If I make a choice, I did something wrong. I bet I called it wrong. I bet I didn't capitalize the second D in ID. But anyway, you can see the reason I'm testing this is when I click a group, I can see that in my URL, group ID value is changing. So this report is sending the correct value, but my account is not consuming this. And that's, that should work. Group ID equals, group ID equals. All right.
I think you also have to change the filter name, Eric, too.
Oh, you're right. Thank you, Jared. This is why I keep you around. Yeah, you have to match this, right? It has to match the exact same value. I forget. Is that true? That's true. Okay.
Yeah, and I think the value can be blank. I don't think the value needs anything, if I'm mistaken. I think it's just a filter name.
So I set it in the wrong spot. Okay. Yeah, sorry. It's been a minute since I've done that. There we go. Yep, this works. Okay, cool. So that was part of your question. Let's actually test your question now. So let's write a actual statement rule that says if let's send a different field. Maybe if created by equals system, we could show it, and then I could write another group that tests that. Yeah, let's try this. See, now I get to have fun. Some other group, save, cool. Back to my page. Here, I need to just make that default. Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's try this, where obviously there's no accounts in here, but let's add one for now. Beep, close. Okay, cool. So let's write a custom rule instead and see if I can get this to work. So back to my groups. Nope. Back to my accounts. Let's remove this. Okay. And let's add a rule filter. All right, we're gonna write a rule that says, create a new one, statement rule. And say, add some input data. So we wanna check if, what did I say? I said, created, group created by, sure. So yeah, I never actually tested doing it like this. Okay, if group created by equals, what did I say, system? It's all caps. Then show the value. This is going to be a weird report, but I'm just testing functionality. So show the accounts members if the group is created by the system. Otherwise, that report should be blank. Okay, we update the inputs. We have group created by. Ah, okay, maybe this doesn't work. I thought it would show up here. Okay. Maybe.
Even if
Maybe
we do
this.
like this, we're not getting that option to, oh, filter name, okay.
Yeah,
That
maybe.
works.
But this is still trying. This is still trying to enforce.
Correct.
Yeah, this may not be
Right
doable.
till here, and it was showing only the fields which were coming from the report.
Yeah, there's no way to tell this. Get this row field. It's gonna force it to pull it from a report field. Okay. Well, bummer. Is there anything clever we can do here? Can I get a column data? And then I could source that in. No, because that would be joining them. Okay. Yeah, I don't have a good way to do this. Bummer. I'm gonna take notes and see if I can find a workaround or way to do this. But it appears, I wonder what this runtime behavior does. It appears this doesn't really work the way we expect it to, or the way it kind of is presenting itself. I can't see a way to actually tie these things
I
together.
know the runtime editable, it just allows it to be, edited by a user when the report's being viewed, or if you use the run report step in a flow designer, then the runtime
Yeah.
editable is a variable to that step.
This is actually letting me change the rule itself. It's kind of misleading. What we really need is a feature that allows us to, here on the inputs, set these as runtime behavior. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like that's not something we do today. Bummer. I'm gonna add
Okay.
as a feature request in to see if that's something we could potentially add. If you absolutely needed this, you needed a filter selection from one to push
No,
into it.
then
Oh, go ahead.
Eric, let me say you this thing. Why I came for this one was I have a case entity data structure and it has
Mhm.
different states. And on click on something, I want to show all of the what is that? All of the records in different states. So currently I have particular states which are on the left. So I put on one more option calling all records, and on click of that, I was trying to get a rule filter. So is there a way to get all the records from a case entity?
There is. When you say
Or
records,
can we dynamically change the reports what we have there on the page?
Yeah, that you can absolutely do. I think there's a couple approaches here. What sort of records are you pulling from the case? Are you doing like documents and those sorts of things, like comments?
Correct, comments and some kind of
Okay.
patient data.
Yeah, I don't have case data here, but I might be able to look at the structure. I think because
Uh-huh.
it's a parent folder child relationship
Relationship, correct.
that some of these data sources should just work. So if I pick cases folder behavior data, that's not confusing. Could I join that or take the extension data for? No, it would be in folder, join parent folder. Projects, okay. I saw Radley raise his hand. I don't know if that's because he has an answer or if that's because he has a question. Join parent folder. Yeah, because then I can get the parent folder details. I think there's some inherent relationship here, which this would be a great question to just submit quickly to support at decisions.com because they can just, instead of me fumbling around, they'll get the answer. But so one
Okay.
option is yes, you might be able to dynamically grab parent-child relationships using built-in extensions, right? Like we know out of the box that comments live in folders. And so you could build out a data source here that inherently knows that. But option two
Sure.
that you mentioned was on a page. Yes, these reports can be sourced dynamically as well. Everything that gets put into the URL, we call, what do we call it? Send filter to other report. It's also called selection bus. So you can put either from a report selection or from like a flow pushing it into the URL or pushing it into page data, you can actually push in an ID here and it will run a completely separate report on the page. And I've done this a number of times for projects. So you can have a selection here, maybe like a flow run part where someone picks a drop down from a form. They pick a drop down, it'll actually run a completely separate report in this panel, fetching
Okay.
it from this selection bus idea. So that's another approach you could take.
Okay. Okay, let me try this and I'll come back to you, Rick. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I'm taking more time. Just one small more question.
Yeah,
So
go for it.
on a form, I have a data grid. So
Mhm.
can we dynamically change the height and width of that data grid?
I don't think so. Yeah, so data grids are going to get a little bit of a rewrite in a later version of 9.
Okay.
You're using an advanced data grid or a standard
Yeah,
data grid?
advanced data grid.
Okay, yeah,
Advanced.
that's sorry, I assumed that. Yeah, so you're trying to dynamically set column width and height. Is that what you said?
Actually, I'm just looking for height. The width, I'm
Okay,
okay.
okay. Yeah, I don't believe we do. Let's count. I always use a count. I even hold on. I have my insurance claim data that I can mess with. So if you have here, you're trying to dynamically set like these heights here.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't believe we have a good way to do this coming like in from flow data. We're working on I say an advanced data grid. We're working on improvements to the advanced data grid where all of these settings can actually be variables that get sent in to the form itself. So you can have a completely dynamically generated basically report. It's going to be for pages too. It's more than just forms set from that. So right now, no, all of those properties cannot be set via any sort of dynamic input data, but in the future, yes. So we'll be adding that as a future feature.
Okay, thank you so much. And Eric, will this call get uploaded to YouTube today?
It should be, yes. I'll double check
Yeah.
with Sabrina, but yeah, if questions are asked, then we usually upload them. So we'll make sure we get that up for you.
Thank you so much, Eric. Thanks for your
Yeah,
time.
you bet. Thank you for your time. Thanks for joining. All right. I didn't see any text questions in the meantime. So Radley, you are up next if you would like to come up mute and ask a question.
Hey, Eric. So I'm using flow execution extensions,
Okay.
and when those are created, I'm putting them in a process folder.
Mhm.
And what I started seeing, this is just actually today, is if the assignment that's going on in that flow, if I'm not the owner of that assignment, the view option, when you right click on the item in the folder view, right, where all the process are created, I don't have the option to view it. I can still click on it and get into the process view, but there's no right click view menu item. And I didn't know we upgraded recently. I didn't know if that was something new, or if I've done something. I'm seeing it both in dev and production, which tells me it's not. It doesn't indicate that I've done something because I haven't
Yeah.
implemented anything in production recently.
Let's test real quick. I think I know what view you're talking about. The view is for the viewing the assignment, or
Yeah. So if you have
okay.
the parent folder, right, of all the flow execution extensions,
Yeah.
right? Typically you can right click on it and select view to get to the process view of that flow.
Right. Okay.
What I'm seeing though is if the current flow is not assigned to me,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the ability. I can't right click and say and pick view. View isn't an option in the menu anymore.
Interesting. Okay. Let's take a look. Sounds like a permissionings thing, but let's take a look. All right, test flow execution. Let's create, sure, folder name can be, let's just make this as an input. Description, we can do whatever. Oh, that input didn't actually get added, so that's neat. There we go. I didn't hit the enter key. Okay, so we set up process folder, we had a task. I don't have any forms, do I? Oh, I have form 1, whatever that does. Was that the one I just dug, the one I just made? Yeah. All right, we'll put a button and this. Man, I love Lunch and Learns because it's the only time I can make really bad designs and just like go to town on it. All right, so our assignment name, action. This is all fake just to get this to test. Okay. So if I run this, and this will be assigned to me, we're gonna call this name number 1 for Jared's knee surgery. Cool. All right. No, I don't care about that. So we're here. This is, you're taking right click action here, view.
Yep.
Okay, and that takes me to the process, the actual folder details, like the
Right.
view here. Okay. So now the question is, if this is not assigned to me, which is interesting, I guess we'll just assign this to a direct person. So like the process mining user. Cool. Okay, so now we run this again. And we'll say claim 2 for Sabrina's coffee spill. I don't know. Cool. Right click, don't have view, but you can left click and get into there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that view is inherently tied to whether or not I have an assignment. Interesting. I didn't realize that. And you're saying in previous versions, this was not the case.
I'm almost positive.
Okay. Oh, look, I have like 7 move actions. That's very helpful. Experimental builds are great. Interesting. Now, I'm a little at a disadvantage because we are doing a lot of context menu rework stuff. Oh, man, I just broke something. Sweet. There we go. Okay. Nope. I'm not sure. Let's see if it's a permissions thing. So view is just an action that takes me to here. Now, if I add administrators, not as an assigner, but to actually the folder, does this give me permissions to view? Let's refresh. No. Okay. If I add permissions to the task, which, interesting. I don't even have permissions to do that. Interesting. Okay. Let's look at how the flow's set up. So I don't have permissions to the task at all, but I am an administrator on the folder, which I expected I would be able to completely manage the tasks inside of there, because this will live in that folder. Okay. If I'm an admin on, now you got me thinking. If I'm an admin on this folder, right? I have all permissions. I should be able to even manage this assignment, right? Oh, I can. Okay, okay. I just wasn't seeing it before. Of course, that's great context menu rework where I can't see the action here. All update assignment down. I don't want to get to the top one. I'm not fast enough. Holy cow, that's funny. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Change. Okay, I now have all the action stuff and I have view. Okay, so it looks like, I don't know if this is a change or not, but it does look like that action is inherently tied to people who actually have an assignment on that claim, on that folder. Because I also bet if I complete this assignment, that even though I just had view actions, view goes away as well. So view is inherently tied to only people who have actions on there. Okay. I don't know if this was changed or if it's always been this way. I will trust your word that it didn't behave this way before. So something must have changed. What version are you on right now?
8.17.
Okay.
And we
and
upgraded from 8.10
okay.
in January.
8.10 in January to 8.17. And something about the way this view action works is now different. Okay. I'm seeing the exact same things you're seeing, so I agree that this is odd. I don't know if we recategorize this or move this, or if there was a different action we had on folders. Man, that's not a fun bug. But I'll have to do some digging. I can look through the release notes too and see if there's anything that pops out right away.
Yeah, I was looking through that
Yeah.
as well. I didn't.
View action. I don't even know what to call this thing. Jared, off the top of your head, do you know if we changed anything in the release notes? 8.14 text view.
To 8.17 between 8.10.
Between 8.10 and 8.17. Anything around flow? Oh, here we go. Flow execution extension actions. This might be it.
I knew off the top of my head, like when you add actions to the top bar, but I think those are just folder actions.
Yeah,
You
folder
have
and
to set
extension
a
data.
flow behavior.
Just okay. I'm wondering if we inadvertently did something here too, where like we're messing with user extension actions in the code. All right, we'll take as a takeaway. Do you already have a ticket open for this, or
I do not. I didn't, like I said, I didn't know if it was something I did or if it was part of the upgrade. But I can submit a
no?
ticket if you like.
Yeah, go ahead and submit a ticket. I'll watch for it to come through and I'll post my comments on there. I see exactly what's happening on my version, but my version's also the latest, so it would make sense that I would see the same behavior. Do I have an environment quickly, like an old environment? No, we'll just have QA test it real quick. Yeah, we'll test it for you. Take a look and see if that's how it always worked or if something different has happened. But to somewhat answer your question, yes, this view action in the latest version is inherently tied to the assignment, and will only be seen by people who are on that assignment.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Eric. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet, man. I'll look for that ticket and I'll add some context. All right. Anyone else have questions? No? You guys may have seen me click around this really sweet, good-looking project view.
Hey, Eric, I do have one other thing if there's no one else.
Nope, no one's spoken up, so you're up.
Just today, I've started seeing an error message. Let me get back there real quick.
Okay.
Anytime I go into a like a plain text editor, yeah, I get this CK editor 4.22.1 version is not secure. Consider upgrading to the latest one, 4.24.0.
Is that in like the bottom right corner of the window?
So right now, like I'm in a calendar view of a report.
Okay.
And I'm getting it right in that text editor where you bring in all the pieces that you want to put into your calendar item. I'm also seeing it like if I want to do like an assignment name on a task, right? If I want to make that a plain text,
Eric, do you want me to share my screen?
plain text.
I can show you what he's talking about because it just happened on my local.
Yeah, this is
It's this
we
thing.
need-
Is this what
we
you're
need-
talking about?
That's it.
Yeah, we need to
Yeah.
let Dev know right away. That's just an old
Yeah.
library.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. This is nothing on your end. This is nothing wrong. It must be that we failed to update to the latest CK editor DLL when we did the 8.17 build. So that's yeah, you can safely ignore.
Okay.
But Jared, can we create a urgent DT for that right away? Make sure they look at it.
Sure.
Like I said,
Okay.
that just started today.
Yeah, it's that DLL is time bound. It's like
Okay.
a couple of our libraries are like RevX and a couple other ones. So if it just recognizes that I'm in a web app and it's past a certain date, it will yell at you.
Got it.
But it's nothing harmful. Nothing will change about the way it works. Just close out of it and continue on. But we'll get that updated for a future upgrade.
Okay. Should I
Sorry
submit a
about
ticket
that.
about this one? Because like I
Mhm.
said, it happens on every plain text editor. So I just gotta.
Yeah. Nope. You don't
Okay.
need to submit a ticket. I got Jared already on it.
Awesome.
I'll go yell at the devs.
Very
Like
good.
I have authority, even though I don't.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, you bet, man. All right. Anyone else? Cool version 9 stuff you like? Have any to-dos? What's that a to-do for Jared? Fix the CK. Anyway, I'll talk just briefly. I know I don't want to waste people's time, but we have a lot going on over the next couple months as it relates to future versions of decisions. So just to give you guys just a little bit of an overview, kind of an early preview of what's going on. As you see on my screen, I'm on version 9. Version 9 is currently this week undergoing internal beta testing. And so we have gotten it to a state that is really exciting. We've been hammering away at it. We've added a ton of features to the way that you organize and group work and decisions into like-minded projects. So you may have seen this new tab on the left, and this is now where all of my developer activity is going to go. We first categorize and organize it into projects, which gives us things like the ability to calculate health score, gives us better dashboarding and visibility into the work that goes on inside of a project, better scaffolding on the left, better reporting and dashboarding of all the things that are occurring inside of a project. Huge shout out to the dev team documentation team for a lot of work they're doing with making sure that it's really clear and easy to see what's happening for a group of work or a project inside decisions. And so this is kind of the major player of things coming into version 9. There's also a large number of other updates, some performance improvements across the board, some better steps for batch processing, general enhancements. You'll see that kind of the coloring and shading has gotten a lot more modern. You probably caught as well that when I'm in a workflow, or a rule that we're now icon based to be kind of in line with more modern thinking. And this is just the start of a series of changes coming in version 9 that are going to just improve developer experience and design velocity across the board. And so that's just a little taste here, a little preview. But for information for you, in the second week of March, we are planning on launching a big version 9 announcement webinar, which will be a much more thorough deep dive with myself and Will Pedersen, our the VP of Customer Success, diving through all of these different features, demoing them, displaying them, and talking a lot more about these things. And we're targeting a late March or early April official release of version 9 where you can get your hands on it and start to download and convert all of your projects over. So I've spoken about some timelines in before. We were really pushing for Q1 of this year for March-ish, February, March. We've had to push that back a couple weeks, but we're targeting end of March now, first week of April, to get this in our customers' hands. Now, if you are interested in a little bit of early access for some beta testing, go ahead and shoot me a note, eric@decisions.com. We'll be accepting applications through next week and then be targeting probably the first week of March for a 2 to 4 week beta cycle giving you early access or taking your environments and cloning them and upgrading them in place so we can get some testing there. But some really exciting new things, performance up across the board, a lot better clustering and batch management, a ton of designer improvements, stability improvements with the way we compile code and organize it into these projects, which then in turn is our next major goal for the year, which is being able to take these projects and consistently schedule and automate deployments across multiple environments. Our repository, if you've used it, works. But it's not really in line with modern CI/CD practices as it comes to moving your development work, at scale or rapidly across your environments with, proper gates for testing and user acceptance testing, et cetera. Anyway, that's the next major thing. We've been working on it for several years. Projects first, deployments next. That'll be coming out later this year. So just some notes and some exciting things coming down the line. So check your emails, keep an eye on it. Join these lunch and learns are another great way to talk to me about it. But we'll be doing some more official announcement stuff in about 2 to 4 weeks. And we're doing a couple webinars to show off some of this really cool stuff. All right, I dawdled. There are no other questions. I'll go ahead and wrap things up today. Thank you all for joining. We won't have one tomorrow because it's Friday, but feel free to catch us next week, same time, starting Monday, back with Will. And yeah, I'll get a couple answers to the questions that were asked that I couldn't answer today, and we'll look forward to talking to you guys. So, all right, take care, everyone. Hope you have a good one.
Thanks, Eric.